Hey guys, 903 here, and we're back playing some more Psychology Madness, Crazy People, X-Men thinking weird things. I don't know what this is. The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker. And we have some new clues to look at. We're going to look at the crime scene report right now. This is a summary. February 14th. So the 11th is when we resigned. Dr. Dekker resigned. 14th is when he was killed, murdered, killed himself, whatever. Victim was located in the office, seated in a chair behind the desk, soaked in blood with an obvious chest wound, which we know he was stabbed. Possible murder weapons: paper spike, a desk accessory, 150 millimeters long, region of the victim's heart. Oh, protruding from where his heart. Okay, yeah. Coroner's initial findings estimated from liver temperature measurements between 8:30 and 10:30. Note the victim's body was reportedly discovered at 8:20 on 2/14, which is Valentine's Day. Can we go down? Can we scroll down? Is there more? Push down. Okay, there's no more to look at, I guess. You can't scroll down on that. How would I scroll down? No. I guess there's no scroll. Oh, wait. Okay, I guess that's it. Alright, witness statement restricted. Christian whatever. Police officer. Respond to from a neighbor of the Bower House, Western Park Avenue. What? Bower House, huh? Report disturbance. We arrived at the address and knocked on the front door. Examine the rear property and gain entry through secure patio doors. We entered the property. Found myself shouting police. We searched the premises upon. I saw a female seated next to a man who was lying on the ground. The man did not. Oh, okay, so this is a police report. But both persons were drenched in blood. Jeez, man. A steak knife on the floor. Also covered in blood. At this point, I asked a woman to put her hands on her head, which she did. Police Chief Holt secured the female. I checked the man for signs of life, but found none. I asked a woman her name, and she identified Claire Casterford. I asked her if she knew the dead man. She said it was her husband. Okay, so David I thought was dead. I asked what happened, and she said she had killed him. Under arrest, suspicious of murder. I then placed her in the back of the police car station. Okay, so I still don't know if I'm supposed to be able to scroll down and see all that or something. Registry. Resignation, heavy footage. Okay, so we definitely want to talk to... What the fuck is this? Who is this? Prof. Warwick? Professor Warwick? We have a new person. So as much as I want to talk to Claire, I also want to talk to this dude. Let's do Claire first. Because...
I've been to the lake house regularly, keeping an eye on David. I saw the girl again, the one I told you about. She was playing outside.
So do I say, isn't David dead, or what? Let's see here. What was the suggested one?
It makes for interesting reading, doesn't it? I can tell you're dying to ask me about it. Fire away. You tell me. What could possibly explain that?
So let's see here.
That's what it says. I can see you're confused. The police say that David is dead, fatally wounded when I stabbed him. The coroner says that David is dead. Everyone says that David is dead. There was even a funeral. But I know. He's alive.
Okay, this chick's getting crazier. Okay, so it's...
He's buried at Hanley Church. You can go see for yourself. There's even a headstone. One of your other patients was a pallbearer. I never forget her face.
Dude, they all know each other. I think they all did it.
Bryce was a pallbearer for David.
So why does she know him?
He's also a gravedigger, I believe. Smuggling a body out of a funeral can be difficult, unless you pay the right people.
What the actual F?
I don't know, Doctor.
Okay, this is getting weirder, dude.
That's not relevant here.
Sure it is.
David wanted to have a talk about our relationship. Not something any married person wants to hear. He said he'd been with Iris for about a year and that he loved her. He said he didn't love me anymore. Which I know is a lie. You don't just fall out of love with somebody. I reacted badly. I grabbed the nearest weapon I could find, which happened to be the steak knife, and stabbed him with it. There's so much
It's not a big deal.
I
What's the big,
instantly regretted it.
what's the big deal? It's not a big deal.
So, I fixed him. It was about a week later. I brought David back to life.
Yes, that's why the
Not
gravedigger
with
said
voodoo.
that too.
Not with virginal sacrifice. I just willed it to happen, and it did. Dr. Dekker told me it was possible. But only if you're not buried. He says once you're in the ground, there's no coming back. But until then, you have a chance at resurrection.
What the age, dude? This chick makes some Chucky stuff, dude.
Yes, resurrection. But now that I've seen the results, I don't think there's anything holy about it. I think reanimation is more an accurate term.
Well,
Like, I'm an evil necromancer, raising things from the dead.
Hey now, we're gonna ask if Dave is a zombie.
Yes, he did come back to life, but he's not a zombie.
Oh.
He looks like he always did. Just his mind is encumbered. There's no way back.
Does he eat brains?
Sorry.
Okay, sorry, I had to...
I think his brain was already decaying during the week that he was dead. Important bits.
You think?
So when I brought him back to life, I didn't heal him completely. Just gave him life in the state he was in. I mean, he's hunting and killing things and trying to roast them on fires he can only light with matches, but that's about it. He's your basic Neanderthal. So I have a problem. David was dazed and confused when I brought him back to life.
I asked if she's an evil necromancer, and
He was
then we get
scared.
this.
He didn't want me to go near him at first, which is understandable, as I did kill him. But I didn't really succeed in bringing him back. He wasn't a big talker before, but even monosyllabic words were more than what he seemed able to give me. I'm getting tired of all these questions.
Really? I mean, you killed your husband and brought him back as a zombie.
I'm being charged with murder because the police don't know he's still alive, and I can't get David to vouch for me for obvious reasons. I think it would raise quite a few more questions than answers, which is why I'm hoping that you'll be able to help me.
How can I help you?
Considering the circumstances, I'd be grateful if you could see your way to declaring me temporarily insane at the time of the murder. To lessen my sentence.
I see.
Because I'm not a killer. But I can't prove otherwise.
You sound...
You don't still think I'm a killer, do you, Doctor?
can I say I don't know what to think?
At worst, it's manslaughter. I didn't mean to kill him. I just stabbed him.
You are a killer.
And although he was dead for a week, I brought him back to life. Does this mean you won't help me? Was I temporarily insane?
Yeah?
paper spike is an odd thing to use as a weapon. I suppose if it went directly into the heart, it might work.
What
or
the
through
hell?
his eye, or perhaps through the ear into his brain. Or was it just a frenzied, bloody mess of a murder? Do you know, Doctor? I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that. Let's have a few more sessions before you seal our fates. Or is it that you want something else? Like Dr. Dekker did?
Oh, hey now.
Dr. Dekker teased me mercilessly about my electability. He didn't believe I'd reanimated David. Once, he presented me with a dead mouse and commanded me to give it life again.
That's
I
weird.
didn't, of course. It's not something I'd throw around lightly. He changed his mind about me eventually. And then he mentioned the girl.
What girl? Hat?
I don't know anything about that. Think, Doctor, think.
Iris?
Use your brain. Or your notes if you have to. It didn't happen. Dr. Dekker called me from his house to cancel. He was furious. He said that Iris had escaped, and he blamed me for it. He said that I must have set her free after he told me about her. I knew it was all lies anyways. He was obviously titillating himself by reprimanding me. He knew I'd never want to speak to Iris again, so I couldn't prove it either way. I have a picture of him I took after he came back. I'll bring it in next session.
Okay, that's not fucking weird. Excuse my language.
He told me he'd locked up a girl in the basement of his house.
What?
Just for me. And he asked me to reanimate her. It was Iris. I said I couldn't reanimate something that wasn't dead, and he said that wouldn't be a problem. So I agreed.
Okay,
I just
then.
played along. I was hoping it wasn't real. I assumed it wasn't real. But he was offering me what I wanted. A temporary insanity diagnosis.
This is weird.
Dr. Dekker asked if I could prove David wasn't dead, so I took him to the lake house. He saw that I was telling the truth. I can take you to see him too, if you like.
I would like that.
Would you like to see David, Doctor? Try asking me something I might know.
What do you mean? Yes, I'd like to see David. I guess I had to say
Very
that.
well. In our next session.
Promise? She's crazy ass.
I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that.
Sorry. Okay, clues. No new clues. Let's go to people. Let's go over to Professor. Professor. Howdy.
Maybe if you asked me that in a parallel universe, I actually know the answer.
I said hello, dude. Howdy. You don't know what howdy is?
Professor Warwick, I'm a physicist. Where's Dr. Dekker?
Dr. Dekker is dead.
Is he really? Actually dead?
What the f...
Not a worthy adversary after all, then.
What? Shall we... Let's see what they say to ask. Oh, I guess it was that.
Dr. Dekker challenged me. He tried to use my theories against me. Quantum theories.
Here we go. What theories?
Do you really want to know?
Not really.
Dekker's eyes used to glaze over whenever we talked about that. He didn't believe in quantum physics. As if it's something that you can optionally believe in. Well, it started with an experiment.
I like how as soon as they're done talking, they're like, we're going to
Have
join
you
their board.
heard of quantum suicide, Doctor?
No. No.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? I said no.
Quantum suicide is a thought experiment that tries to explain the many worlds theory. You're looking at me blankly. I can see that you don't understand. I knew you wouldn't. Alternate universes. Essentially, if I were to shoot myself, then in some alternate universe, I'd still be alive. Now imagine if I could actually choose that universe. I'm taking a product off a supermarket shelf. Well, I simply applied that logic to something different.
That's just weird, sir. Just telling you.
Gambling. I set up an experiment whereby I would visit a casino and place a very large bet at the roulette table. Now, I would always bet on odd. Now, the results of this particular experiment were mundane. I won as many times as you would expect according to the laws of probability. But then, I changed a parameter.
Look at him, he's like sprawled out on the couch like, hey, what's up?
Quantum suicide required a loss of life to make it a realistic thought experiment. So I simply upped the stakes.
What'd you do?
Every time I bet on odd, I would place everything I had on that one spin of the wheel. It worked. For a while.
Everything you had? Why gambling?
Why not gambling? My wife Vanessa left me for a neurosurgeon. She emptied our entire combined wealth into her barrister's wallet. I needed more money. Physics provided me with a solution.
Okay, so you're...
Dr. Dekker killed it, and I can't get it back.
I think you were just lucky for a minute.
Well, my theory, quantum gambling. If the stakes are high enough, you will win every time by simply shifting your consciousness into that branch that wins. It's tricky, but it can be done. But Dr. Dekker didn't like that. He saw me becoming rich and powerful, and he hated that. That's why he proffered the hangman's paradox.
What the freaking crap are you talking about?
Well, imagine a judge sentences you to death. Now, it will be Monday or Tuesday next week, but it will be a surprise. Well, which day do you think you'll be executed? Well, Monday does seem likely, yes. Because if you're still alive on Monday at midnight, then Tuesday won't be a surprise. But if you're sure that it's Monday, then that won't be a surprise either, will it? Dekker tricked me.
He tricked you, huh? How did he trick you? Tell me. Yes.
Now, he told me that sometime in the future I would lose a bet. That I would lose all of my money. Now, this didn't seem likely because I had quantum gambling on my side and it was working. But he unnerved me. He made me doubt myself. And then it happened.
This guy's crazy, dude.
Recently, I lost everything that I'd managed to build up since Vanessa left me.
It's because you bet everything every single time, dude.
Honestly? Well, I think he feared quantum physics. He didn't like things being explained in terms of science. Almost as if he'd have preferred chaos.
Oh, chaos, huh? We've heard chaos theories already once, didn't we? Okay, let's keep going with this cat. Tell me about your wife.
We were married for 14 years, 7 months, and 3 days. Vanessa couldn't have children. At least that's what she told me. She grounded me in reality. I'm not complaining. It's probably what I needed. But part of me always thought one day I'd achieve immortality through science. It wasn't to be, though.
Okay, then. You know. Did it bother you couldn't have children?
Well, yes, it bothered me. Especially now that I find out that she's pregnant. Oh, no, it wasn't a rocket scientist that was required, but a brain surgeon, it seems. I have considered putting that neurosurgeon onto his darkest timeline.
Oh, dude.
But I'm not a killer. It would seem.
Well, that's good, because someone is dead.
I was at a fundraiser for a charity called Mind Stretch Outreach. Don't know how I got roped into that, can't remember. But it was full of very clever children with bizarre outlooks on life. And Jaya.
Jaya.
It was Jaya who asked me to go.
Hmm. Do you date Jaya?
Oh, she's Dr. Dekker's lovely assistant. I imagine she's your lovely assistant now. Yeah, she always smiles and makes me a cup of tea before a session. Smile. Which reminds me, my session. Can we talk about my problem now?
What is your problem? Hat.
I'm not a gambler, Doctor. I'm a scientist. I need more money. It's true I've run out of money for my research. An opportunity has arisen.
What opportunity?
A very wealthy group of individuals have offered to pay me a very large sum of money if I attend their next private soiree. They don't want a talk or anything like that. They want a practical demonstration.
Okay. Sort of.
They'll pay me £1 million if I can successfully survive 6 rounds of Russian roulette. Now, I am worried because of what Dr. Dekker said, but, well, can't help but thinking that the stakes are so high I can't possibly lose. What do you think, Doctor? Should I take them up on their offer?
No. No.
No.
That's
No,
crazy.
I suppose you're right. In a darker timeline, you probably said yes and I'm dead now.
Huh.
I earn good money where I work. So how do I stop losing it?
My God, dude, that's not good.
Quantum gambling. It's a pet project. It's got nothing to do with work. But if I don't have significant amounts of money to lose, then there won't be enough jeopardy for the experiment to work.
So he has to have lots of money.
I take your point. But I suppose to decide whether to continue gambling or to stop gambling is a gamble within itself, isn't it? Well, my time is up. Will we be having another session or... No, don't answer that. It'll turn you into a gambler like me. Infectious.
Infectious.
Isn't it?
Do we get to ask him more, or is he... hold on. So he did leave. Okay. So we have to talk to Jaya, Bryce, Ellen. What should we do here? There's Nathan. We already talked to him. This chick is crazier than shit. Ethan, I think Jaya would be next in the timeline.
Have you been taking notes in our session, Doctor? Perhaps you should check them?
Said good morning.
I'm fine. I'm ready for my grief counselling. I emailed you Mariana's address. I don't know why you'd want it. I suppose you're going to start doing home visits now, like Dr. Dekker?
Let's see. Clues? Responses. Questions. Clues. I don't have any emails. Back to Jaya.
Yes, Dr. Dekker started doing home visits for Mariana. He said she couldn't concentrate properly in his office. I hope you're not thinking of doing the same thing. I need you right where I can see you.
Okay, that's not weird.
Doctor, if you don't want it, don't text me and ask for it. It's all right. I don't mind doing menial tasks for you. Someone has to do them.
I don't remember.
Checks and balances, Doctor. Somebody needs to be watching the watchman, so to speak. Make sure you're helping, not hindering.
This chick is crazy, dude. Okay.
He probably did his fair share of helping and hindering. He was definitely helping in the beginning, but then seemed to lose sight of things.
Okay.
I think he was so overwhelmed by the patients he was getting. His curiosity just got the better of him. There was a definite turning point.
So I want to say, what turning point? Obviously.
Somewhere around the time Professor Alderby turned up, that seemed to unsettle him.
There's a
And
lot
then
to
we had
this
a
story.
flood of
A
extra
lot.
weird patients. I think it was all too much for him. I think I misjudged him.
There's a
I
lot
hope
of
you
weird
deal
patients.
with it better.
That's for sure. There's a lot.
Some mornings I come into work and still expect him to be here. Sometimes it feels like he actually is here, watching over me.
That's not weird.
We had a connection. It's gone now, though. You can't have a connection with the dead, can you?
Well,
Not for too long, anyway.
you shouldn't. Let's put it that way. Do you think he's a zombie? You think she brought him back to life? Any news on Ben? Yes.
I think that's all settled now. We are agreeing to pay Ben £5,000, and he's agreeing not to say anything about what he saw.
Well, that's good, but £5,000 is a lot.
He thought he saw a creature coming out of Dr. Dekker's mouth. But at least that's the reason he's given for not emptying the bins that night. Either way, it's not the kind of publicity that we need. Shiny, happy, sane people.
Yeah, so something coming out of his mouth.
Grief is such a strange word if you keep saying it. Grief, grief, grief. It sounds like somebody's being whipped. And you're going to ask me how I feel today?
Didn't we already say that?
Dr. Dekker asked me to have dinner with him for Valentine's. I
Oh my
refused,
God.
obviously, because you don't sleep where you eat or something like that. But it was flattering, especially with competition like Mariana around. Sorry, I didn't mean I was competing. I was happy Mariana was going out with him. I didn't want to be romantic with him. We had a stronger connection than that.
This chick is just digging a hole. Stronger connection. What the hell?
Dr. Dekker and I shared some philosophy. We'd both read The Cult of the Kinetic Mind, and we agreed with a lot of what it said. Have you read that book, Doctor?
No, I definitely have not.
In Cult of the Kinetic Mind, the author suggests that everyone is capable of psychokinesis, and that the cult leaders specifically had these powers that turned their followers into disciples. It's not a fun read, but if you're into psychology, it's a blast.
This is like weird.
Psychokinesis is
that
the
where you can move
ability
things?
to change the physical world without actually
Yeah, with your
touching
mind?
it, just
Yeah.
by using your mind. It's not just about bending spoons. It covers all sorts of things like telepathy, telekinesis, telesabalas. Shoot me, I'm a Kojak fan. No, not at all in my experience.
Is it common?
Dr. Dekker had an unusual number of patients who claimed psychokinesis. Either he'd been specifically looking for them or someone had been sending them.
Man, there's a lot of questions here. Do you believe in it?
Like I said, all those cool things are in Cult of the Kinetic Mind, apart from Kojak, obviously. If you ever get a patient who thinks they can change the world with just their mind, then duck. just in case they can. But seriously, do a whole load of shrinking and make them better. Whether you believe in psychokinesis or not, you'll need to figure out your approach with those that do.
Yeah, well, the guy about the gambling definitely...
It's entirely possible that someone is targeting this practice with psychokinetic patients. To what end, I don't know. It's no coincidence that most psychokinetic patients are diagnosed as insane, or at least temporarily insane. It's a handy diagnosis if you're facing criminal prosecution, especially if it's for murder.
Claire? She's saying about Claire?
How do you make people who think they have special powers better? Do you remain passive and support, encourage them, take them away?
He was going with the prove it thing. Remove their powers.
That's what I'd try to do.
I'd say remove their powers. See, you know.
It's in that police report that I gave to you. You should really take a look at it.
I've already read it. Thank you.
I was at home on my lonesome, Doctor, like I said before.
After you killed... After you killed him.
He talked to me a bit. It's been bothering me, but I think I should share it. My key card went missing on Valentine's Day, and Nathan had it. Well, he gave it back to me in the morning, said he'd found it on the floor of the office, but I don't drop things, Doctor, not key cards. I checked the access log, and it was used at 10:05 on Valentine's night.
Oh, Jesus.
I guess it doesn't prove he used it, but somebody did.
Nathan, you killed Dr. Dekker, dude. What's up with that?
I haven't mentioned it to the police yet.
Why
I'm still
the
thinking
F would
about
you
it.
not tell him, the police?
I don't know.
Like now, like yesterday.
Oops, that was a strange thing to say, wasn't it? Quipped. Am I all whips and chains in the bedroom or dominant in the boardroom?
What the?
Don't answer that, it's not a question. It's early days for a harassment suit yet. What with Ben's nervous shock already.
Jeezy Pete's, dude. Let's go with that one.
Honestly, I think Dr. Dekker had a bit of a crush on Mariana, or vice versa. I'm not really sure. There's some footage from their home sessions if you want to see them.
Oh, of course we want to see him.
That's a strange question to ask. That was a joke, Doctor. I guess we found our level. Dr. Dekker did send me to see his mother once. She was dying in a nursing home and he didn't want to see her. I remember him calling her a manipulative, evil old hag.
Wow.
I tend not to ask any more questions after that.
Happy Mother's Day, y'all. That's crazy. Good day.
That's not something I...
Okay, so we're done with her. Okay, so Nathan. We're going back to Nathan because he had the key card.
I burned the photos of Hannah. It didn't work. I suppose because the loss was superficial. The next thing I burned was the rocking chair.
He did both. He
I've
did
been
both.
getting rid of her stuff ever since.
That
There
should
was a
work.
day when I attacked a Salvation Army bin, but I gave in.
Need to stop burning things, sir.
I accidentally put Hannah's diary into a Salvation Army donation bin. They're like huge post boxes with a circular tray that makes sure things spill to the bottom. I tried to get in to get it back, but I gave up.
Alright. Did you read the diary?
I read the last few weeks of Hannah's diary a while ago. I must have accidentally dropped in some clothes for the Salvation Army bin. It's funny, because I wasn't going to read it. She said she'd fallen out of love with me. That she was going to break off the engagement.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
But she didn't love me anymore.
Okay. Well, that is a bummer, brother.
I regretted that I mourned for Hannah so long. I regret the grief. I regret all the days I slept through because of it. Had I known she didn't love me anymore, things would have been different. I'm a bit angry now. If I had that day over again, I may just still pull out in front of the driver.
Dude, she didn't love you anyway.
Can we maybe not talk about Hannah anymore? And thanks for the dating advice, by the way.
Did you go on a date?
I signed up for a dating website. It's a bit easy, to be honest. If I message something they don't like, I change it on the daily phase. It's not very honest.
This guy's crazy.
If I'm being honest, I'd probably rather ask out one of the patients I've seen here. The friendly redhead with the accent.
Yeah, that's not good.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I just don't know.
Okay.
I've told you all I know about Dr. Dekker. He started out good, then turned a bit crazy towards the end. When you start giving people more problems as a therapist, that's a bit crazy. I remember the spike. He was very sharp. Dekker used to fool around with it during the sessions, but I mostly just kept my head down. Most of the time it paid not to look at what he was doing.
What the heck?
Started out with depression. Now I seem to repeat days. Even if you don't believe the repeat days, then I clearly have extra mental health problems that he's given me. I think that he possibly cursed other people, a bit like he cursed me. Sometimes you could see he was bursting to tell me about it, but he couldn't. He was ecstatic in power.
Just weird. Isn't this the guy about the key card?
Curse. Well remembered. I was hoping you'd forget.
Excuse me.
It's going to sound crazy. Dr. Dekker said I would never be able to move forward until I came to terms with my grief. And so from this point on, I start to relive the same day over and over again until I made something of it. I believed it.
Okay, that's not weird.
I didn't want to believe him. I remember I said, you can't just say things and they happen. He laughed and laughed. I think he was going mad. He said he'd give me a demonstration.
What kind of demonstration, I'm sure?
He held his hand outstretched and told me to look at the flame. There was no flame, and then there was. He was holding a flame in his hand that had come out of nowhere. And he tried to hypnotize me to make me forget it.
That's crazy as hell.
I didn't forget seeing the flame. He wanted me to forget it all, but I didn't. For whatever reason, he couldn't undo what he'd done. I was scared. I pretended like the hypnosis had worked.
I wonder why.
He'd become bored of me, so I got much of my insight from calls or messages he'd take during our sessions. I think because he hypnotized me, he didn't want to play with me anymore, so I got basic therapist.
Okay.
I was scared what Dr. Dekker would do to me if he found out I still knew, so I had to play along, keep coming to the sessions, pretend I hadn't seen what he'd done. It was awful, because I was suffering through the same days over and over again. But I couldn't talk to him about it. Because he'd know.
Jeez, Bates, dude, this guy's a train wreck.
He told me lots of people get depression. To become more active, see more people. And although he wouldn't always be there to listen, Jaya would be.
What?
Yeah, I talked to her quite a lot. I'm not sure how many days of that she'd remember. She seemed to care, which is more I can say for DEKKER. Yeah, I found it on the floor of the office. Dr. DEKKER suggested I search for treasure that was in front of me. I didn't know what it was when I picked it up. I just put it in my pocket. It was only later that I realised. This looks bad, doesn't it?
That's very bad.
It wasn't used to gain entry on Valentine's Day, was it?
Should I tell him or should I not?
It wasn't me. I didn't come here. I keep saying. I had that call, but I don't remember after that. Are there security cameras? They'd prove it. I suppose you would be asking if there were. When you live life as I do,
Yeah.
you
Did
don't
you
really
kill
know
him?
what has happened and what hasn't anymore.
See if it would stop the days.
Sometimes I do things and I repeat the days so they're undone. I've done some things I'm not proud of, but none of it usually sticks.
It definitely looks bad, dude. I'm just saying. Okay, so we already talked about that. Okay, so we're done with that.
DEKKER was a dangerous person. I'm glad he's dead. You'll get no glowing references
dude.
from me.
You shouldn't say shit like that, dude. Especially when you had the key card that was used during the murder. Alright, we still got 3 more to talk to, but we're going to stop this video right here. I made a really good bond with Nathan at the beginning. Him and Jaya are my 2 number 1 picks, but it's starting to be him more, but I'm thinking maybe she set him up. But that's just my thoughts. We're going to stop the video.